Hi, I'm Chris Wilson, and this will be a short demonstration of the PenReg voter registration capture product from Penvote. And as you can see, what we have in this case is a Minnesota voter registration application. Minnesota is currently a same-day registration state. That means on election day, people may register to vote. Typically, that has to be done in ink with a regular ink pen. These have to be returned to the election office, and you worry about that getting done and making sure that you have all of the correct numbers of forms. Then these have to be basically scanned or data entered. Well, we're going to do it a little bit differently today. We're going to use a digital pen which writes in ink. When we finish filling out the form, we're going to check this little box here, the send box, and then the pen will send the information to this Galaxy Tab tablet, and the information then will go directly to a database. So think of it as directly to your statewide database or to your county version of the statewide database, but the information is converted from the ink, from the handwriting, directly into the database. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, one of the things that's important is, are you a U.S. citizen? That you want to put yes to that. You have to affirm these things, that you'll be 18, yes. Last name, and we're going to go ahead and put Wilson here, and we're going to put Chris, and I'm going to make a middle name of Adam. And the address, I'm going to make it 135 South Main Street. And the city, let's make it, in this case I'm just going to do Columbus, because we're based in Columbus. 43210. Now, a few other things: date of birth, which I'm going to put as 10/12/1962. School district, I'm going to go ahead and put Hilliard, Hilliard, and county where you live, I'm going to put Franklin. Now, of course, we have some issues here about the, you can also add an email address or phone number, but your identity. And in this case, I'm going to say I do not have a Minnesota license, and the last four of my SOCH is 5432. And I'm going to sign here at the bottom of the form. Keep this on. And today's date, 3/23/2012. So I'm finished. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to check the box, the send box, and then you'll see on the screen what happens. So I mark the send box. It's now preparing the form. You'll hear beeps on the pen, vibration here on the pen, and then a sound on the Galaxy Tab. One of the things I can do is come back and look at the information and verify it if I wish to go this route. But I know that they affirmatively answered the U.S. citizen in the age 18 question. You can see now from the ink that I wrote Wilson in ink, and of course it correctly interpreted that, and my first name, Chris. I can make edits here if I want to, but I'm just going to cancel any editing. 135 South Main Street, it has that correct. And then it also has the Social Security as 5432, and it has 5432. So everything has now been sent correctly. So now this form and the underlying information has been sent to your database, converted from the handwriting into text. So you do not need to data enter this form, nor do you need to scan this form. We already have an entire PDF created of this entire form. So in the second set of the video, what we're going to do is a screen sharing session where you will actually see again this form compared side by side with the results, and we'll show you some of the editing tools. But for using the PenReg product in a polling place in a same-day registration state, for example, this is how simple it is. Again, you don't need to have an iPhone or a Galaxy Tab if you don't want to. You can eliminate that. At the most minimum, you need your registration form, again, printed with the dot pattern, which is hard to see on the camera, but it's printed in there, and a digital pen. This will last the entire day for voting. provided that you, in periods in which folks are not coming, that it's capped, and if it's a very, very busy day like a presidential, still being used, it will last you 14 or 15 hours, which should be adequate to handle the voting. So that's the PenReg product in a nutshell, and what we want you to do is continue watching the second segment of this. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to us at penvote.com. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. Now we've just gone ahead and marked the Minnesota voter registration form, and we ticked off the little send box. And so the information from that form has already been sent to the appropriate database, whether a local database or to the statewide database. But the information is available to be inspected or to be reviewed immediately. So I'm going to show you a screen. You don't have to use these screens, but this will give you an idea of what information is available. So we're going to go ahead and open up the form that we just did. And as it comes up, you'll see we have a split screen, a left side and a right side. On the left side, we have the form with the handwriting. The right side, we have the handwriting as the system has interpreted it. So this was not data entered. So don't want you to think that somebody sat down and actually typed in these words, because no one has. This has been converted directly from the text. The digital pen, when you write the characters, they go into the system. The system has a way of looking at those things based on things like the pressure and the slant angle. So these were not scanned into a computer. It just goes directly. When I hit that send box on that form, this information is converted automatically. Now as I look at this, we have both the yeses for the age 18 and U.S. citizen, and I can see the name Wilson here. And by the way, as I click on a field, you'll see it highlights in both cases. And by the way, I can edit things over here as well. So the right-hand screen is capable of taking all of the edits that you wish to make. Address 135 South Main Street. You'll notice that this address form is just a big open box, but the computer knows how to parse it so that it looks correct. And Columbus 43210, and as I scroll down, the date of birth 10/12/62, school district Hilliard, county Franklin. And here we have the last four of the SOCH 5432, and that was correct. And at the very bottom we have the date of the form, and that was 3/23/2012, and that's correct as well. Now you'll notice I don't have the signature. I did not have the signature captured here because we're not trying to convert the signature to text. We know from above who this person is. So you'll notice as you look at this form that everything on here has been correctly interpreted and read. Now you're not going to get 100% accuracy all the time. I mean, there are some people who simply scribble their name, and you still have the same problem with that. If that form comes back and you can't make it out, and you can't make out the address, you're going to have issues in either case. But our system does a very good job of getting very high accuracy so that we eliminate almost all the data entry. There may be a couple characters that you have to change here and there, but that's about it. So that's the PenReg process that you go through. I'm going to show you a couple other things that I think are interesting to look at. This is the side-by-side view. There is another view. I'm going to go up into settings here, and I'm going to change this. Instead of a split document, I'm going to do a single document. To do that, I'm going to close it quickly and then just reopen it. And this will have what we call the quick edit screen. I'm going to go ahead and pull the quick edit screen open. And over here you'll see it's just in an up and down format. So you can also design this any way you want. You can make the edits, and again I can enlarge the form. So as I work down from the top to the bottom, I can see everything that I need to see. So if there are additional fields coming down, for example, previous last name and all of that information that's here, that can be placed in here as well. So this is just simply a different way of looking at the form and looking at the underlying data and making changes. And so that's what we call the quick edit screen. And you have complete control if you wish to use this. Now, One of the things here we have under Document Details is we have the ability to generate a PDF with the strokes. We can generate a PDF with interpreted data. We might want to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and open the PDF with the strokes. Now, it's going to save that form. And if I open this form, I'll go ahead and open this form very quickly. One of the things that you'll notice is it's a very nice high-resolution form. You can see the writing. And this is done automatically. It is not something which is scanned in. This is available to you automatically. Let's go back to our system. And what we're going to do then is go ahead and take the PDF. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to open up the PDF. In this case, we're going to open it up with the text. So we'll look at this very quickly. And here you can see the PDF with the interpreted text. And you'll notice that it got the check boxes and it put a graphic check here. All of the information is nicely filled out for you. I'm not sure exactly the role that this interpreted PDF would play in a system, but it's nice to know that it's available. In addition, the underlying XML data, and I'm going to go ahead and just enlarge the XML data. By the way, you could have this data in CSV or TXT or different formats. But as you can see, XML is kind of handy because it does have the field names and so forth. So from taking this underlying data and bringing it into a database is very handy to have. So for example, U.S. citizen, yes. Age 18, yes. And here we have things like last name, first name, middle name. And you can see the values over here. Wilson, Chris, Adam, and there's the address and so forth. So this is the underlying data. This data is available immediately after you check that send box on the form. As you saw that we did that. This information is available. So you don't have to use the verification screens that we offer. You can just take this data, bring it directly into your own system, and maybe in your own system you have some way in which you deal with processing the information. But if you want to, again, you can use our system both with the quick edit or if you want to use the split view. And I'll go ahead and pull that back up again just quickly so that you can see it. And if we pull up the split view again, you can see the side-by-side. There's a variety of other controls and functions that we have here. And again, there are a couple other things that can be done. If there are edits that are made, it can be saved. For example, if there's additional work that you need to do or you need to come back to something, save incomplete will then pass any other edits and lock the form, basically saying this form has been completed. That underlying data, again, another bit of XML will be created for you to bring back in. And we've mentioned as well in the voting video, but it's not something that applies, I think, as much to the voter registration forms. Let me go ahead and I'm going to put this back to the single document and just show you one other thing that we can do. So to do this again, single form, I'm just going to close it and reopen it. We do have this playback button. I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this form to fit. The playback button, if I hit play, will show the actual marking of the form. And we can speed this up or slow it down. That's not particularly important, although it may show you on some forms where folks are having some confusion if they're having to come back to a certain field that you notice that they start at the top, come down to the bottom, and then come back up to the top to fill something in, that there is some issue with your form design. So you do have that information. You actually can see the form as it was filled out in real time. You can speed it up or slow it down. For the voting, that's really great because you can look at the ballots and see actually how they're marked and where people went on the ballot. And that's very useful information. And as well, there are other things such as the score indicators for handwriting, if we want to be really strict about the interpretation or loose, because there are ways in here that you can say, if it meets a certain threshold, we're just simply going to take it We're going to just say that that information must be good, that the recognition is so high. So for each field, there is a recognition threshold. So, and if the threshold is, say, below something, say 50%, then you may make those fields highlights so that the person is definitely going to eyeball that and make sure that it's okay. So again, the beauty of this system, and I want you to imagine, for example, that that form is filled out at an NVRA location, say a library. And when you watch that form being filled out and we hit that send button, this information that you're seeing now is available back at the local election office to be processed and worked on. And that form can physically still be at the public library. So now we're getting throughput. We're actually getting information coming off registration forms in real time. So if we're collecting forms at a county fair, the workers in your office can be processing them as the fair is still going on. And then as the forms physically come back, you can simply file them however you handle filing your paper forms. You can file them by date or by alphabetical, whatever system that your state still requires that you have to keep. But you don't have to wait for the forms to come back to do any data entry or any scanning. You have a high-resolution PDF. We've already looked at that, both of the form filled out with the handwriting, as you're seeing here now, and also you can make a PDF with the interpreted data. So we've looked at this document details. We've also seen that we can see the history of it. So if it was sent in a second time, there would be a notation. There's a pattern ID, which is basically like a serial ID, and a document ID 2453, in this case, says it's a Minnesota form. And so if there's a change to the form and we have to issue a new form, there's information that we can get from that. And again, this is the way, if we want to download the underlying CSV data of everything, we can do that, or the XML, or again, the two PDFs. So this is the PenReg product. It's available now. And again, one of the things that we tell people in same-day registration states is that we can guarantee you that 100% of the forms collected on Election Day will be in the system, ready to be looked at, ready to do that final verification and precincting and all the other functions that you need to do with information that comes off of a form on election night. All of that is done. Now, I know that some places it takes them weeks and weeks, and there's great difficulty physically getting the forms back, getting them scanned, hiring temporary workers in some cases, and doing all the data entry. And again, simply a couple hours after the election, we would have all of this work done. So that's the PenReg product. For more information, please go to the website, www.penvote.com, or feel free to give us a call at area code 614-388-9119. And again, we thank you very much for watching.